Hello? Yeah? Can you hear me now? All right. Let's go ahead and get started tonight. We will start with a couple of announcements, and possibly it's a weird night because on our one call that went out, there are 0 prayer requests, which just means everyone is doing perfect today, right? We'll always pray for Denny, and Cynthia, because of Denny. Let me give you a real quick rundown of some things that are going on coming up very soon. First of all, tonight is a continuation of our Wednesday night missions highlight, and then if we have time afterwards, we will do a little bit of some Bible study that we have prepared. I will tell you, I do have all of the Proud Christian shirts here tonight. So if you did sign up for those, after class, come up and get those. I mean, please don't. I need to make sure everyone gets the one that or signed up for. And then if you did not sign up for one, I think we should have some extras. Where's John? John, he was right there. I think we have extras. I think he threw some extras in there. So we should have extras if you did not get to sign up. Tonight, our highlights are Mount Dora Children's Home and also the Equip Conference. And so we'll have some reports on that. The men's and women's prayer breakfasts are tomorrow at, looks like, oh man, it's different. The men are at Haystacks now, and the women are at IHOP. So be careful at IHOP. One time we went there, had a big ordeal. There was police, free food, but still it was crazy. I think that was Father's Day too. It was just a mess. My most memorable Father's Day in a long time. But make sure you go to those and you'll be safe. But fall retreat for our youth group is coming up this weekend. So be in prayer for all of our chaperones and our youth who are going. They'll be at Central Florida Bible Camp and then doing a whole lot of great service stuff around the area. And so be in prayer for the group that will be out there. Also, Bread of Life is this coming Saturday. So if you can get a chance to volunteer for Bread of Life, come and love our community. If you have never been to Bread of Life, there are so many different places and ways that you can serve. If you can give a smile and talk to people, you can serve. If you can pick out groceries from a list and put them in a bag, you can serve. If you can pray with people, you can serve. You can just show up and be a presence, you can serve. But if you've never heard of Bread of Life, it is when we have a hot breakfast starting at 9 a.m. And then we have shopping in the groceries and also in the clothing room that's open to our community. I think last month we served about 50 families, is that right? And with an influx of families, that's a little bit higher than what we normally serve, there is a need for volunteers. So, anything else, Mike? If you want to eat breakfast, which I would, there's pancakes, sausage, biscuits, and gravy. It's pretty good stuff. So if you 8:30 if you want to eat, 8:45 if you just want to come in and serve. Awesome. Please keep in mind that this coming Sunday, after morning services, is going to be a little bit different around here. We are doing after services a fire drill. All right, what's it called? ERT, CRT, PRP, I don't know, CRT, crisis response. I don't know why I had the E is emergency is what I was thinking, but crisis response team has been working through this, and to be prepared, it's really helpful if we get to walk through something like that. So don't worry, it won't be in the middle of the sermon unless I just go way too long, but it'll be after services, and there'll be instructions on that as well. All right, sorry, there's a lot going on. Also on Sunday at 5 o'clock is the Orange Avenue Fall Festival. That's open to our community, and we would love as many people from Orange Avenue to come as well. I don't know this, but there's usually a need, especially to decorate a trunk. We do a traditional trunk or treat, and so if you can grab some candy, and you don't have to elaborately decorate your trunk necessarily, But if you can decorate your trunk, it's always really cool. I think that's where we have the parking lot around the back just lined with Orange Avenue members, so that when our community comes through and they get candy from the different trunks, that we get to have conversations and introduce ourselves and just let people know that we are here for them. And so there's going to be, I think there's going to be food, fellowship, games. There is a snow cone machine, a cotton candy machine. Right after I mentioned it in eating well in the sermon, whatever, I will be eating some. But come and be a part of that, please. There is also a wedding shower on November 16th, and there's a little tweak that we have in here for that. It's for Alyssa Cannell and Nick Fasig. That is not just a ladies only thing. That is for couples to go to. All right, is that right, Miss Melva? All right, that is so good, because just yesterday I was having a conversation with Doug Tillery, and he was saying, I just can't wait. Why don't I ever get invited to these showers? Was that you, Doug? No, that's cool. I like that idea. A couple shower that you can go, and I'm guessing Nick and Alyssa will be there. Oh, and there's a dessert bar. So, anyone want to watch the Bacchus Kids that day? All right. Please go and support that awesome couple, and it'll be a great time there. There are no prayer requests on here. I know that doesn't mean nothing's going on. I want to remind you of one thing with our prayer. If you fill out one of these cards and put it in the box on Sunday morning, there are a couple. I'm waving at you, Miss D. There are a couple of boxes that are right here on the prayer request. One says elders and staff only. The other one says include in the bulletin. If you don't mark either of those, there's a good chance we're not going to put it in the bulletin, because we just don't know if you want it in there or not. And if you put elders and staff only, it will not end up in the bulletin. And so if you have turned in a prayer request, please, and it hasn't been published, there's a good chance you either didn't mark it or it just says elders and staff only. But there are things going on and health issues going on, a lot of spiritual conversations have been happening. But let's just lift everyone up in prayer, and then we're going to hand it over to Tony Kinkle, and whenever he's done, we'll talk equip as well. All right? Awesome. So let's pray together. Our Father in heaven, we love you so much. You're just an incredibly awesome God. I am thankful for our church family. I'm thankful, God, that you have put us on mission of making disciples after Jesus. And we're just grateful, God, that we get to be a part and included in the great work that you're doing here. So we lift up our city of Eustis that we get to living in. Some of us get the joy of living in, but we get the joy of worshiping right here and being at a church that's planted right here in Eustis. And we pray, God, that every ear, the city of Eustis, can hear the gospel. God, I pray that because of that hearing, and we pray for obedience to the gospel as well, that Eustis looks a whole lot more like your kingdom than it does just another city in Lake County. So God, I can't wait to see what you do. We will continue to pray big prayers. We know we will continue to provide great answers to those prayers. So God, as we look at a couple of mission that are done here at Orange Avenue, I just pray, God, that you revive our hearts for the spirit of helping. You revive our hearts for the spirit of caring for those who need help and for making disciples of Jesus Christ. We love you, God. We pray this all in Jesus' name. Amen. Right, you need that.
Yeah, thanks. Test. Can you hear that? Is that on? Thank you, Kenny. Tony, I think, there we go, a little bit better. You know, it's humbling to come before you. This is my home church. I speak from Nashville to Miami. And what's the Bible say? No prophet has honor. And to follow all of the projects that I heard last week, the Bible camp, and work in Central America. And I'm just honored to talk to you about what used to be called the Christian Home and Bible School. Now, there's some alumni and people in the audience who refuse to only call it that. And I'm blessed to be with my colleagues, so many of us that teach over there, our worship. Garrett Schwartz, who's our new Vice President of Social Services. Garrett and his wife Jenna, can you stand up maybe? And he's placed membership here from the great state of Nebraska. Garrett, I want you to know my Minnesota Gophers beat the Big Red this weekend. Okay. And I do want to recognize the person who makes all the trains run on time. We couldn't do this without Heather Hartman, who's right over there, our office manager in the Office of Development. I want to start tonight in Isaiah. And I want to put up a passage here that until I prepared tonight, I must admit, I don't know that I ever remember reading this. And maybe I wasn't big on the minor or major prophets. But this is Isaiah speaking to the Jews who had been in captivity for 70 years. In fact, Nebuchadnezzar hauled off their grandparents to Babylon. And they finally got a chance to come back to Jerusalem. The Persians swept in, kicked Nebuchadnezzar or his successors out, and they went back to Jerusalem, and they're rebuilding the temple and the city, and they found it in ruins. And so they did a lot of, they really did the rituals really well. They were fasting, and they were praying, and they thought if they did that really well, God might show favor and help them rebuild the city. But God had a little different message for them. And this is what he says through his prophet Isaiah. Is this not this kind of fasting I have chosen? To loose the chains of injustice and untie the cords of the yoke, to set the oppressed free and to break every yoke. Is it not to share your food with the hungry and to provide the poor wanderer with shelter? And when you see the naked, to clothe them and to not to turn away from your own flesh and blood? Then your light will break forth like the dawn, and your healing will quickly appear. Then your righteousness will go before you, and the glory of the Lord will be your rear guide. Isaiah urges them to move beyond rituals and more into practice. And I believe 85 years ago, there were people in this community that decided to practice that. And they created this entity in 1943 and matured in 44 called the Christian Home and Bible School. Now, I think, because we worship here and half of the school worships here, we think you know what we do. And I've become convinced that that's not necessarily true. So our founding fathers decided, and I got to tell you, this is one of the very few institutions in the country that said we're going to do two things really well. We're going to have at that time they called it an orphanage, a home for homeless children, and we're going to put a school there, a Christian school, under one board. Now that's a very novel thing. It makes our job a little bit more difficult, but also more rewarding. And so we do both of that. And you can see there two missions woven into one enduring legacy. Now that's from Cletus Stutzman, a quote there, former president. He said, he's talking about they wanted to have a home for homeless children operated in connection with a Christian school, which would serve a dual purpose involving much less expense than having separate facilities. Now, I want you to look at that young woman there. Her name's Melissa Unwin. Those 6 children are hers. She has an older child that's out of the house already. She came to us a couple of years ago because no one would take her in any of these social service entities because they can't fit 6 kids. And she was to the point where they were sleeping in their car. And she had to decide which kids she was going to have to send to foster home and which kids to keep. How'd you like that choice? Now, she only dated her high school sweetheart. She never dated anybody else. She married her high school sweetheart. He was in the military. He did 3 tours of duty, came back the 3rd time from the Persian Gulf, and had a severe case of PTSD. Took off, ended up in a base in Seattle, fathered another child up there, and abandoned these kids. See, we serve people who things happen to them. They didn't make any poor choice. Life came to her. Showed it up at our doorstep. Now we provide 2 years of care. And there are a number of individual donors I'm looking at tonight of our program. Because of you, we're able to give her 2 years of free living, free child care. And she went back to school in an HVAC program. She comes to your house, fixes your air conditioning. She's in a firm in Orlando, the only woman of 30 men, employee of the year. For the first time ever, she learned how to do a checkbook because she said her ex-husband did all of that. In fact, she didn't even know how to use a TV changer because he controlled that. That's Melissa. Now, a lot of churches support us because they read that passage in James, right? Anybody, when you see the word perfect, we stand up and look. Perfect religion is what? You've read this many times, right? Perfect religion is that God accepts as pure and faultless as this, to look after the orphans and widows in their distress and to keep oneself from being polluted by the world. By the way, that word orphan, I want to expand a little bit on that. That comes from the Greek word orphanos, which means to deprive one of their parents. It doesn't necessarily mean both mom and dad are dead. And so that's where we come in. In fact, very few times we take in children that both parents are dead. In fact, Dr. Moore, I don't think we've done that in 40 years. But their parents are absent. They're in prison. They're orphaned to the living. Now, I want you to look at that newspaper headline there. This is from 1971. And this family, the Ledbetter family right here, shows up on the doors of the Christian Home and Bible School. By the way, that young man right there, Billy Ledbetter, went on to become a decorated teacher, coach in his life, impacted many, many kids. But they showed up here because Mom and Dad were driving in Valdosta, Georgia. They got T-boned. It left Mom paralyzed from the waist down. And Dad took off. Left those kids with a paralyzed mother. And they showed up at the Christian Home and Bible School, and we took them in. So when you donate, that's who you're helping. Maybe that is pure religion in practice. Now, I want to thank Orange Avenue from the bottom of my heart. These are the top 5 giving churches in the state of Florida for our children's home. We've received support from 230 churches of Christ in our history. About 130 of them currently give every year. And these are the top 5. Now, incidentally, you might notice the top two. I don't know if this is, I don't know if this is a coincidence, but both those churches James Moore worked at. Probably not by coincidence. Concord Street in Orlando, #1 supporter. Orange Avenue, #2. And you can see the rest there. We thank you for that support every year. We could not do this without Orange Avenue. Now we have a single parent program. So we have a residency program for girls who don't have parents, so we provide house parents. We also have a single parent program. We have 9 cottages. And I put this slide up here to show you what it costs in an average year now. This is the estimate for a single mom with 2 children, both attending our academy. And you can see the cost structure there. The biggest cost is childcare. We require there's no free lunch because it's your money and you deserve a return. When you come to Mount Dora Children's Home as a single mother, you're required to have a job or be in training, school, trades, or college. And so then we provide childcare when you do that. You can see counseling. Many of these children, and one of the frustrations I have is, I know where all of us have lived our lives in the church, me included, grandpa and grandma, mom and dad, and I know what these families we deal with, where they are. They didn't even know. I remember one lady asking me, what's that word starts with a C and you take with a cup? They're unchurched. They're dodging bullets. The syringe needles they're just surviving. You ask these folks, where do you go to church? And they said, anywhere where it's safe. That's where they're coming from. And so we have to provide a lot of counseling for the mothers and the children. You can see up there, utilities, clothes, medical. We scholarship their tuition when they come to the academy. So those are the expenses that Orange Avenue is helping us with. Now this is an interesting program. Donnie Hudson there, some of you know that family. He's an alumni of Mount Dora Christian Academy. He lives in Nashville now. He's a veterinarian. Chiropractor. And he is, he's an elder at the Green Hills Church of Christ in Nashville. That's the one, those of you that remember Lipscomb, they used to call it Granny Way. It's right on the Lipscomb campus. He's an elder. He decided that church was going to adopt a single mother and her children. And they wrote us a $50,000 check to help. And that's the first ever of its kind. You can see Danielle, there's Danielle on the far left, and then her 2 children. Danielle got pregnant at an early age. She got her own father, got her addicted to drugs. You can't make this stuff up. She got drugs from her dad. I sometimes don't sleep at night thinking about what these people have gone through. And frankly, how blessed I've been in my life. She got her kids taken away by the Social Service Department of Florida. She had to work, get clean, go to treatment, got her kids back, came, and Green Hills Church of Christ adopted that family. And they're doing extraordinarily well. This is Sakia Doper-May. She's graduating right there from Lake Sumter. She landed in Mount Dora with the change in her pocket. She was on the bus. She was from Miami. Her mom was in mental health institutions. They had to live in church basements, cars, and at 16 she became pregnant and had triplets, 2 of which died. That young man, Joseph, right there is the one that survived. Frankly, you can see the marks from the beatings on her. And brilliant gal. We got her back going to college, and she graduated valedictorian. She's now a teacher in Tavares, impacting lives. By the way, we require all of our single mothers and their children to go to church. Guess where? Right here. In fact, you probably see them and don't know. And that's probably good. But you're having an impact on our kids and our parents, not by just your contributions, but how you're living your life. They watch you. Rebecca Cox was in 50. Now that is not a typo. She was in 50 foster homes by the time she was in kindergarten. She told me the story. She was 9 years old watching TV in a foster home in Orlando, and the nightly news comes up and it says, you know, lead story, woman gets shot in drug deal. And it was her mother, biological mother. She saw it on TV. She had children, and sometimes I can't be as honest with you and where these folks are coming from as I'd like to be, but I'm gonna go out on a limb here and share this. There are a lot of stories of these women with their children, young men, that their boys are 9 and 10 and not very strong 11, and they're constantly watching their mother get beat up by boyfriends. Can you imagine that? You're not strong enough to take them on? And she had a boy, she tells this story, she's given me permission to say it. She had a boy that kept a knife under his pillow. So the next time this happened, he was going to have a weapon. And they came to Mount Dora Christian Academy and Children's Home. We got him in one of the cottages that you all support, this church supports, got her safe, and she said within 6 months, that boy had replaced the knife with a Bible. Thank you, Orange Avenue. This young man used to watch you from the back of the church. He, single mom, they came from New York. His mother was having boyfriends and drugs. He left. He came to our boys' dorm at Mount Dora. And he started going to church with one of his buddies. And he said, I never knew how people interacted except I started to watch all of you from the back, in the back pew. He said, I watched how men would maybe put their arm around or hold hands or sing together. He went on, he used to tell the story, he actually lived with his uncle before he came to us, and he said his uncle was the #1 drug dealer in Lake County. He said he would come home from school and there'd be a wad of $100 bills laying right on the table. And he said he would watch all the prominent citizens in Lake County, or at least according to him, and they would come, they needed those drugs. And he said, I watched the power and the money. And I said, Josh, how did you resist all that? And he said, because I came to church. And I had Christian teachers, and I went to chapel. All of our students are required to go to chapel every day. All of our students, and there are a number of teachers in the audience tonight, my colleagues, they're taking a Bible class every semester. That's how Josh turned his life around. Now, I want to close tonight with this young woman here. This high school picture. And you see the quote there. She came to the Christian home and Bible school in 1967. She was 14 years old. She was the youngest of 3 children. And she had not lived with her parents since she was 11. She said her home life was filled with physical abuse and screaming and fighting. Her mother even tried to commit suicide. There was alcohol in the home and foul language, and there was no guidance, she says, and certainly no Bible. She came to the Christian Home and Bible School, and she said, there I learned to have daily responsibilities like keeping my room clean and doing her own laundry and learning how to cook, and most of all, having nightly Bible studies in the dorm with the other girls. She said, quote, we became a family that supported each other, end quote. Daily Bible classes in chapel fueled her faith. Christian teachers guided her path. She went on to attend a Christian college and received degrees in elementary education and a master's degree, ultimately, and became a very decorated teacher, impacting lives. She also was a house parent and a foster parent, and she adopted her oldest son. And because of the support of Orange Avenue and hundreds of churches and donors like all of you, she developed a lifelong love of children and the ability to share the love of God with others. And ladies and gentlemen, that young girl right there is a little bit older today, and she's in the audience tonight. In fact, you know her. You might know her. Susan Tillery, can you stand up? That's Sue. On behalf of all of us at Outdoor Children's Home, thank you from the bottom of our heart for changing lives. Brother Means, Brother Stutzman, Brother Ayers, as you can see up there, they changed her life, and we're changing lives every day. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Man, thank you, Tony, for that awesome presentation. And I got to have lunch the other day with Garrett, and just want to let you know, if you want to help out or find out how you can help out with such a great ministry there, talk to Garrett, and he could get you plugged in or whatever, show you whatever the needs are that are there. Obviously, an incredible, worthy cause for us to be supporting in a great way. Thank you for that presentation, Tony. I knew I couldn't quite follow Tony Kinkle, and so to keep your attention, what I have to do is say this. I want you to pay close attention to this presentation because I have things to give away at the end, but there will be a test. Does that seem like a youth minister? Or yeah. Listen, I want to just tell you, a lot of you were at the Equip conference, and a lot of you have known about the Equip conference for a long time. I know we've been saying this name a whole lot tonight already, but the Equip conference is kind of a brainchild of one of the best Christian leaders that I know and have ever known in my life, our brother James Moore. And I'll tell you a quick story. When I was in the youth group down in Orlando, I was probably about 12 years old, recently baptized into Christ, and it was a Wednesday night Bible study, and James was no longer my preacher, because he used to be my preacher down in Orlando, but he came down and visited Concord Street just to talk with the youth group. What kind of person does that? That's just awesome. So he came and talked to us at the youth group and asked us questions. He didn't just come to teach, but he's asking us questions, and he said, what do some of y'all want to do with your life? Like, what kind of goals might you have? And at that time, I'd already thought about youth ministry and that kind of thing. And as a young kid, one of the things that I said was I love to speak at like a SunQuest or an Equip conference or something like that. And instead of laughing about that, James, when I was little and he was just an older Christian and loves to mentor and help people, he said that's going to happen one day. And it's a really cool, weird thing now. That I get to be James's preacher and work with SunQuest, work with Equip, and all because, and it wasn't just that one interaction, but even to this very day, James is still making disciples one of them being me. Teaches me a whole lot about what it looks like to lead, what it looks like to love people and stay, as you are leading something like an equip, to lead it with integrity and to lead it with love. You got to know this. When you do anything, whether it's a children's home or a conference like we have, everyone has an opinion about what you're doing. Did you know that? It probably happens in everything that you do as well. But to be able to just simply lead with integrity, do the right thing, and sometimes you love and you listen, but you just keep on leading and leading. I learn a whole lot from Dr. Moore. But he was one of the founders of the Equip Conference. Started down with the church down at Concord Street Church of Christ, and I don't really know how sure. I'll say James, but also Chuck Lipford, who is one of the elders down there as well. But I don't remember when it came up to Orange Avenue, but it's been quite a while now. But now Orange Avenue, we are the sponsoring church of the Equip Conference. And I just want to run through real quick, and let you know a little bit about what we do at the Equip Conference if you've never ever seen it. This past year, this was our theme. Apparently my slide didn't come out well, but this is our theme. And I just want you to see, we talked about thriving in our churches. And so for a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we had about, I think at our total registration, about 1,400 Christians that were at the Rosen Center in Orlando, Florida, between those 4 days. And we had a whole lot of worship time that was led by our very own Brian Holton and Dr. Moore. And then we had classes that were going on all throughout those days. Keynote sessions of great speakers from around the country that came in. But those topics range from leadership, discipleship, marriage, and Christian families, men and women's classes, young adult classes, church and culture classes, how the church and culture can, well, basically how the church can interact with the current culture and what it looks like to live as a Christian with all the stuff going on in our world. We talked about apologetics. We had Nathan Guy from Harding University came in, did a fantastic job talking about apologetics, Christian apologetics. And also in church and culture, Jason Darden from Harding University as well came in and did a fantastic job with that. We had classes that were training up teachers, whether it be teachers for our little kids, teachers for adults, or teachers for teenagers. And we had just an absolute awesome time at the Equip Conference. Some other things that we do there, we have a teen session that is also there. And this past conference, we had more teens than we have ever had in at least what I remember with modern Equip. I remember way back in the day we had a great big old teen session, but it is continuing to grow and grow and grow. At one point this past year, I got a call, we need more chairs. The kids are sitting on the floor. What I found out, it's always good to start off with only sitting out 6 chairs. Really, like when you hear overflow, just kidding, it wasn't 6 chairs. But we brought in Zach White. Many of you know Zach White to come do some worship leading for the Equip teens. Brought in speakers just for the teenagers, and they went through these same equipping principles as well. We also have Equip Kids. So I want you to think, anyone ever been to like a Sunquest or youth rally? I know you've been back to Sunquest. This is kind of like a Sunquest, but for the whole family. While there's stuff going on for our adults, there's stuff going on for our teenagers, and there's stuff going on for the little kids as well. And so that was happening all throughout the time. And also, we have a Spanish-speaking group that is meeting at the same time. And for the first time this past conference, a whole group that was there that was learning in American Sign Language. And they've already said, we loved it, and we'll be back in 2027. So we are hoping to continue to grow all of those things. But I want to mention one thing real quick. The purpose of Equip is to equip disciples to make disciples. One of the other targets that we have with Equip is to have a place where we can unite our churches. Places where we're not talking about necessarily huge controversial things, but simply what does it look like to go out and make disciples for Jesus Christ? What does it look like to form our churches around our mission? What does it look like to train up families and teenagers and kids so that no matter where we're going, we are ready and prepared, kind of like what we're talking about if we're not doing missions. We are equipped and prepared to give the answer for the hope that we have that is within us. All right, I'm going to go through a couple of quick things, a couple pictures that you might see. This right here was this is all from this past conference, one of our late night sessions. That was supposed to be just a classroom, but it just overflowed and packed in for Jack Evans. Comes in from Texas a lot of time, and man, he sets the pulpit on fire, and was teaching at night, and a great crowd came out to see them. The other two pictures are something we do on Saturday night. We call it Aka Jam, and Wesley Leonard is the one who kind of leads that up. He doesn't sing, but he leads it up, and so we just have a really fun time after worship where we bring in some a cappella singing groups, and they do a concert, and just an added time of great fellowship. Also, what you see here is one of our nights. The big picture is one of the nights at Equip, which we had oftentimes a full house as we were worshiping together. Brian Holton, I think he's the one up there at that point, did an awesome job leading our worship, and James Moore did the same. I want to mention that what you see up here on the top right is our board of directors. And I want to let you know who is on that board of directors, because you might recognize some of those names. We have right here is Steve Puckett, and he was the preacher at the Melbourne Church of Christ. He is recently retired from that. You see our very own Laura McCoy. She is not just our secretary, I want you to know that. She is on the board of directors for the Equip Conference and does awesome, outstanding work for the conference. Xerxes Snell, who is down at the 9th Street Church of Christ in Winter Garden. Joe Roberts, who is a former preacher at Orange Avenue Church of Christ that many of you love and know, and also former vice president over at the school as well. We have Larry Klein, who is minister up at the Hardin Valley up in Knoxville. He was at the Holly Hill Church of Christ down here. He was a former director of the Equip Conference. Wesley Leonard, who many of you love and know, one of our more popular speakers at our summer series. He is a preaching minister down at the Southside Church of Christ in Orlando. And then the other guy is, I get the joy of directing the Equip Conference, and it is an awesome privilege and honor to be able to do that as well. So that's our board of directors. What you see on the bottom right is one of our teen sessions that was going on. And then one where there's Dr. Moore leading some singing, and a couple of our guys doing some of their awesome keynote lessons that we had going on there. So we were talking about thriving in our lives, thriving in our churches, and again, just some pictures. You don't want to see a bunch of pictures. Our next conference is coming up in 2027. All right, there's the dates for it, and this is the time where you're all supposed to take your phones out, go to your calendars, and put that in. Now, I'm not moving on to everyone. I'm just kidding. I don't think we can do that. But I do want to get that date out in front of you very, very early. We did announce it at Equip this past year, but it's July 8th through the 11th, 2027 at the Rosen Center. And can I tell you this? The Rosen Center, Dr. Moore has developed such incredible relationships with them that I believe in 27, James, you can correct me if I'm wrong, and even through 29, the rates for hotel rooms have gone up maybe by $5 a night. That's it. That is unheard of at that place, and it's an incredible blessing to have there. Our theme is going to be on earth as it is in heaven, and I'll give you a little bit of sneak peek of some of the direction that we're thinking about, but it's not solidified yet, to look at something that we're going to be looking at as a church here very, very soon as the new year turns, is what does it look like for our lives to be on earth as it is in heaven. We're going to look at a lot of things. We had a great outcry this past conference on what does the Bible say about mental health, and how can the church help with mental health issues that are going on. So we're going to talk about what it looks like to be mentally, spiritually, physically, relationally, and all these things. What does it look like in our lives when those things are operating on earth as they would be in heaven? And so really looking forward to this next conference. And you may not know this, but even though it's in 2027, planning has already started. We get to have speakers from all over the country coming in, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful time that we have. I want you to know how Equip is funded. All right, Equip is funded by, number one, sponsoring churches. There are, I think, 22 sponsoring churches, and most in Florida and some right outside of Florida. One's in Laverne, Tennessee, that send monthly money right here to Orange Avenue so that it can support this conference and the work of equipping disciples who make disciples. And so it comes in slowly, it comes in monthly, and that does a great help in helping equip happen. Just so you know, we are the sponsoring church. We're also the largest church donating as well, because we're the sponsoring church. There's one church that is right behind us, and I love it to death. It's the South 14th Street Church of Christ in Leesburg, Florida. And they're not a grand old big church, but they're a church who believes in the mission of making disciples for Jesus Christ. And they are wonderful supporters. I'll show you some of the other supporters as well. We have individual donors who have set up monthly giving and give donations to Equip. I'm not here to ask you for money. Don't worry about that. I will tell you this in general. Equip right now financially is in a better shape than it's been in a really, really, really long time. We can, at this moment, put on a conference right now if we needed to. And we still have 2 years to raise more money. So we're in a great shape. But what that does allow us to do is dream a little bit. All right? Think about what we could do if even more support was there. And so it's a great place to be. We also at Equip have our vendors marketplace, and we have sponsors. And so a great deal of money comes in. We usually have about 4 or 5, we call them platinum sponsors at the event. There are ministries and mission works that come in, and they set up the booths and all that kind of stuff. And of course they pay to be there, and that all comes back right into the mission of Equip. There's nobody on our board that gets paid. There's no one, we don't do anything. We got to lunch, Equip doesn't usually pay for anything. Everything goes right back into the mission and the conference and some other resourcing that we get to do. We have every conference, we record every single class that goes on. The Spanish classes, well, not the kids or the teens, but the Spanish classes that go on, every keynote that goes on, and every single class from every breakout session that goes on. That allows you to hear everything if you ever want to, and we do sell those after the event. You might remember a long time ago, if you ever went to a spiritual growth workshop, you remember that big booth that was in the middle, and they would make the tapes right there? And I think it was the Newton family. They would do that, and then they had the CDs, they would burn the CDs. Now they just come on a USB. All right, and our very own Tim Falkenberry here is in charge of recording all of the classes and then gets them on the USBs. We have those still. They're still for sale on the website, but we make those available at the conference as well, so you can hear all of those awesome speakers. At the conference, we take love offerings as well for people who might want to donate to Equip, but of course we don't make that mandatory. Equip, I should mention this, there's no registration fee. Everything is free. All right, as far as registration goes. You have to buy your hotel room, but as far as showing up to Equip, it is absolutely free. And I just want to give you an idea, no names of any other thing. As a minister, I look at different conferences that I like to go to and want to go to, and it is hard to find a conference that is less than $300 per person to go to. And because we have the support of so many churches and other different support that you see right here, it is easy now for us to offer Equip for registration for completely free still, and we'll keep doing that in the future. So it's a great blessing that we get to do. You see investments up there as well. You don't necessarily need to know this or want to know this. Any money that we have left over after one Equip, we immediately invest that, and it continues to make money throughout the rest of the year. But we try to be wise with whatever it is that we've got. And so it is, our money is making money, that kind of good thing. Not a whole lot of money, but I think between last conference and this conference, or 2 years ago and this year, I think the investments that we gave in probably netted somewhere around $7,500, which was no work for us. All right? And that just was able to pay for James Moore's suite and dinners and stuff. And I'm kidding because James never stays in one of the suites. So listen, here's our donating churches. I don't necessarily need to go through all these. I think there's 22 donating churches, but I do want you to see, you know what, just take a look there. They come from all over the state of Florida. These are, I want you to hear this as genuinely as you can. All these churches that you see up here, none of them look the same. All right, there are predominantly white churches up here, predominantly black churches up here. There are conservative churches up here. There are more liberal leading, not liberal, but just not as conservative churches that are up here. And I love that because Equip is a place for unity. All right, and we get to, we don't come and argue about the things we have differences in. We come together to talk about the things that the mission that Jesus has for us. So that's page 1. Here's page 2. They're alphabetical order, not ranking by any means. But awesome churches that sponsor Equip. I've already talked about that. I'm not asking you to buy those things by any means, but a couple things that we are working on right now in expanding our reach. Number 1, well, we already have that one. We did goal number 1. We have 1 year of reserves and funding and a little bit more, which is an awesome thing. Equip Network is something that I like to talk about a whole lot because it is in action already. But basically, I had a private donor, who gave some money towards Equip with just one purpose, is to get ministers in the churches of Christ together and to resource one another. And so quarterly, we get together. Our last meeting had I think we had 15 ministers from around the state that came together right here in Medora. The guy who gave money said, let's use this for resources, books, resources, whatever that looks like, and also pay for lunch for the ministers who come there. And so we do have some side reserves that are there just for bringing ministers together. Iron sharpens iron. Let's get together. Let's talk mission, and let's talk, hey, what's going good at your church? What are you struggling with? How can we help each other? It has really done a great job in bringing ministers together, which I hope will do a great job in bringing congregations together. When we are united, we are better. There's also one of our rooms right back here. This is a long time coming, but hopefully we'll get really moving here. But there is a room right back over. It used to be our children's library that has turned into a podcasting studio. And that's going to be used for Equip, but also for Orange Avenue as well. We kind of partnered together with that to put out resources throughout the year, so we're not just seeing people and communicating with people every 2 years. And so what will happen is, and I've got a few speakers already ready to go record, is that they will come in, or we'll do it virtually as well, and we will simply expand on the things that they've talked about and get really, really practical about what does it look like when you go into your community with the purpose of making disciples. What do those conversations look like? What are your churches doing? What is working? What have you seen fail? And what does it look like for you as a person to be dedicated to the mission of Jesus? And our goal is simply this. It's not there to make any money or anything like that. It's just to get the message out. There's no burden to build a great audience. We want to resource the people who are already at Equip on a monthly basis, at least monthly basis. Hopefully twice a month will be the goal. And then Equip resources kind of hand in hand with that as well. All right? Ways to get involved, and then I'm out of your face. But you can save the date, first of all. I saw so many of you do that. You can follow Equip on Facebook and spread the word with that. Donate now. Somebody always puts donate now in there. You can do that, but again, we're not asking for your money for Equip unless that's something you really want to do. One of the biggest things we need, because Equip is sponsored by the Orange Avenue Church of Christ, is when those dates get here, that you are ready to serve. All right, we have a small group that does a whole lot, and I would love to be able to expand all the stuff we do into a greater work, not only just Orange Avenue, but other churches taking ownership of certain areas. So a lot of our people here help out with the child care and teaching. The Equip Central that Laura lets in lead up so well, and that's our registration desk and information central. And our hospitality suite, we make sure our speakers come in and they are taken care of 100%. And so our group here is our great sponsors. Sandra Richline was in charge of it this year with Sabrina Deem, and a lot of our people did a lot of great work up there in that room, making our speakers and teachers feel comfortable, feeding them, and making sure that they have a great time while they're there. And then serving communion, and there's so many different ways to serve. So I would love for you to show up and be a part of Equip, but also show up to serve as well. I know our time is getting very limited, but here's the thing I'm going to do. I'm going to quiz you, and I have stuff to give you. All right? Just because I have a closet full of stuff that didn't necessarily go away yet, you may not want any of it. All right? But check it out. I've got a couple Equip mugs. I've got some Equip journals and some Equip t-shirts. I heard a woo. All right. All right. All right. Here, first one. I got a 3X. Is that too big? No, that's not big enough. Big. I don't have anything bigger. All right. First question, just by the raise of hand. First hand up is what I'll call. If you remember, what was the theme of Equip last year? Caitlin. Thrive. All right. I don't know what you want. What do you want? I'll have to tell you size. I've got a large, a small, and a 3XL here. A large it is. Oh, it's a cool shirt. It just says Equip Conference and then equipping disciples to make disciples. There you go. All right. Sorry, I can't give away anymore. What's the theme for this coming year? Oh, I saw Elliot right here. Oh, he forgot. Oh, wait. Elliot? On earth as it is in heaven, is that what you said? Oh, what do you want? A cup? Would you like a pink one or a black one? The black one? There you go, my man. Great job, Elliot. All right. Name one person other than me or Laura who's on the board of directors with Equip. Oh, I saw Miss Weehee back here. Joe Roberts. What do you want? Pink. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. James will give it. And I got to make up questions real quick. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay. What's one way you can get involved right now or at the next conference for Equip? Oh, right here. Follow on Facebook. You didn't raise your hand, Don. Follow on Facebook is what it is. What would you like? Small. Got it right here. All they have is a 3X. All right. Okay. July 8th. I was just getting ready to ask that, actually. All right. Does anyone else want this 3X shirt? Here we go. Here we go. You can match. You can match. All I've got is 2 journals left. Who was one of the original founders of the Equip Conference? Oh, raise a hand. James Moore. And, I said it right now, just a few minutes ago. Who is the person who led the hospitality suite this year for Equip? Sandra Richline it is. All right. Awesome. Love you guys. Thank you for being here. And listen, I want you to know with Equip, it's not just a mission of the board of directors, it's a mission of the Orange Avenue Church of Christ because it's the mission that Jesus left behind. If you want your Proud Christian t-shirts, I have those up here if you ordered those. And so I'm going to stay up here for a few moments. If you want to pick those up, I'll get the right sizes to you. Love you guys. Have a great rest of the week.